If there's one thing I do extremely well, that is, my friend, to reverse engineer things. I love to observe people and I love to see why something is working. And that does not mean I'm copying anybody. I just like to see why a certain strategy works for some people and how they do it and how they apply it. And of course, I've been podcasting since May of 2020, and I own a podcast management agency. And because that is how my brain works, I am wired to reverse engineer things and really dissect things and to understand why something works. I have observed three things that really make top podcasters stand out. And I'm super excited to share that with you today. So let's dive in. So before anything, let's talk about the big elephant in the room. Is podcasting saturated? And here's what I have to say. There are two types of people here in this podcasting space. People who think podcasting is saturated and it doesn't work and they are too late and they give up. And the people that are like me that have, this scientific kind of brain, they love to try new things and they love to understand if something didn't work, how can we make it work? So you really do have the scientist, like this person who's doing experiments and trying things out. So obviously the person who thinks podcasting is saturated, they're telling themselves like, I'm not getting downloads, I'm not getting any visibility, this podcast is not doing anything for my business. Whereas people who have the growth mindset and they love to explore things and make things work because they see the finish line. They're asking questions like, how can I grow my listenership? How can I improve my show? How can I do things that will actually place me in front of my ideal listener? And of course, it all comes down to three basic things. Number one, as you can tell, is mindset. So your mindset, how your mind is primed whenever you go into anything in life, that'll for sure determine your success or not. Because if you are relentless, if you're just not going to give up, if you're just going to keep trying, and of course, we have to be smart about this. Like, we're not going to make the same mistakes again and again and again, and hoping that one day things are just going to poof, magically change. That's not what we're doing here, right? Because the next part is having a good strategy. Top podcasters, they have strategy behind anything that they do. Anybody who's successful, they have strategy behind anything that they do, whether they see it or not. They do have a strategy in place. The third thing is commitment, because here's the thing. I have literally talked to people who told me they went out and they got the microphone and they set up a studio and they recorded like 5 episodes and then they launched their podcast. And then after 2 weeks, they packed it all up. Here's the thing. You're probably not going to see anything crazy happening from your podcast just from 2 weeks. You really have to commit to this. So when you look at big podcasters, they have been podcasting for a while. I have yet to see anybody who just like starts and has an amazing show right out of the gate. And like, listen, that is absolutely possible. But here's the thing. If somebody does have success right out of the gate, what do? They keep podcasting. So podcasting is not like this magical being that will just put you on the map and these things. Like, no matter what, you have to commit to it. So first things first is, again, having the mindset. When I started podcasting in May of 2020, even though I didn't have an audience, I knew that my show would stand out, that I had a message to say, and I had to overcome a lot of mindset and blocks and fears that were keeping me stuck, from being super honest. Like, if you go back and listen to the very first episode of this podcast, which I still have up, it was a different niche. I'm always in entrepreneurship, but just a different category. I was talking more about e-commerce. I even say it in that episode that I wanted to quit right then and there. And a few years in, I'm still here. I'm still podcasting. And it's because I stuck with it that I have a successful show. And I kept podcasting even when I did a giveaway at 25 or 50 episodes and nobody entered to win. I did a giveaway when it felt like nobody was listening. Like, I could see the numbers. Like, you can see the numbers. You can log in to your podcast dashboard and you can see the people are listening, but you're not getting any feedback. And it feels like this is even landing with anybody. But I kept podcasting because you won't see the fruits of your labor for a while. And this is true with anything in life. Like, you cannot put a seed in the ground today and then expect tomorrow for it to be a full-blown tree giving fruit. You just have to wait and you just have to be patient. The strategy part, I talk about this a ton in this podcast episode, and I'll make sure to link episodes down below so that you can go ahead and listen and make sure that you are applying strategies to your podcast, because podcasting for the sake of podcasting is not going to do anything for your business. You do have to have a strategy in place. And the commitment piece, this is something that I always talk about. This is something that if you're going to start a podcast with the attitude that you're going to see where this takes you and you're going to see what happens, and you're just going to show up and you feel like it, like what you put into this is what you're going to get in return. So if you're giving this like whatever, I don't care attitude, then you're not going to get a whole lot of results back. But if you commit and you have the good mindset and you have a good strategy in place, guess what? Your show will be a success. And by the way, I just want to talk about success for a second and sidebite here. You don't have to have this super popular show with millions or thousands of downloads for you to make money from your show. You can do that right now. I made my first dollar for my podcast. I launched in May of 2020. In August of 2020, that's when I monetized my show. I sold a spot to a coaching call, and I was just pitching my services. And the only thing that I did differently was that in August of 2020, I started promoting my coaching offer. That was literally the only thing that changed. And I made money from my podcast. And at that point in time, I had about 1,000 downloads or so, not a lot. So the point I'm trying to make is if you have those three things in place, these are the same three things the top podcasters have in place for their own show. They didn't get there overnight. It took them time. And mindset, strategy, and commitment is really the secret recipe to having a successful podcast. And if you're super excited, because let's face it, commitment, strategy, and mindset, those are things that are well within your control. And if you're super excited to understand that having a successful podcast is something that is totally achievable and totally possible for you, then you want to make sure that you're subscribed, because next week I'm spilling the beans on how you can turn your podcast into your sales team. So even though you might be podcasting by yourself, it's just you and the microphone every single week, just like me, I am going to spill the beans on how you can actually make money podcasting and how you can turn your podcast into an evergreen sales call, sales machine for you, so that by the time people are hopping on a sales call with you, or by the time somebody gets on your sales page, they're just ready to buy because they know you're the person for them. So make sure you're subscribed. And until next time, may you find God's love, grace, mercy, and peace. And I'll see you then. Bye.